Okay, so I wanted to go over a couple of Nightblade skills. It's my little Nightblade Devil Bay. Hey, Devil Bay. On her bar, starting out with, we have Surprise Attack, which does a lot more damage coming out of stealth and actually reduces their physical resistance, so kind of like Ellie Drain. I'll show you from stealth how much damage you can get. Okay, so it's 35, almost 36k damage from stealth, and it was a crit. So, okay, Piercing Mark, almost identical to Ellie Drain, reduces their spell and physical resistance. In PvP, you can use it to mark an enemy and they can't go back into stealth. And it will also heal you when an enemy dies that has the mark on them. So we'll see if we can't get a little more damage with the mark on them. Okay, yeah, we almost got 41k with mark on them. I like dual wield, and this would be my I guess group execute. It's really good for taking down groups of trash mobs, and you can actually anti-cancel it if you press block the instant that you cast it. But strong skill, but I usually only try to use it in execute range. Okay, Flying Blade. This reduces their movement speed, and it also grants us a nice weapon damage boost. So weapon damage 3354 without it. And I'll show you what it looks or goes up to once we hit them with it. Okay. See, it went up to 4153, so that's a nice little buff to our weapon damage. And it's also a good ranged attack. For just single targets. Razor Caltrops, of course, you'll know a lot about. Reducing movement speed is a nice DOT. I'll usually use these running into a fight or to gather ads. Important to keep these up at all times, though. So. Ultimate is Incapacitating Strike, or Incap. Does quite a lot of damage. It is single target. Okay, so now we'll take a look at her back bar. She has a two-hander. We'll see what those skills look like. What do you mean no? Well, you can cherry little fart. Hold on. Okay. I've convinced her to show us. First one is Dizzying Swing. It has a nice little stun and a good deal of damage. Didn't crit that time. Okay, that's a nice little crit, and I buffed it up with Rally. Okay, got a lot of numbers there with Flying Blade and Rally or Momentum buffing it. Killer's Blade is our execute. The stam morph of this doesn't have near the range as the magic morph does. You'll see about right there is the limit of that. Still at execute range, does a ton of damage. Crit Rush, this is my gap closer, and it the damage scales based on the distance you travel. So that's the damage you get up close, and you can see the damage is increasing the further away we get. Has a decent amount of range with it. Okay, in Rally, This buffs our weapon damage, and also we have a nice little heal over time and a little burst heal at the end when it expires. So all around a good skill to keep up. I usually use this right before I go into a fight. You can see when it's active, we got a little more damage. Okay, I'll show you what Wrecking Blow does coming out of stealth and buffed up, which should be a pretty large number here. Yeah, 60k damage, which most ads you're going to come up against that. That's a one-shot, so pretty fun to play around with. Well, thank you, Devil Bay. Let's see what she does in action here. Okay, coming into the fight, throw caltrops to get aggro, to group up the enemies. Throw Flying Blade to buff our damage. This is just little trash mobs, so we'll throw caltrops again to cover them, and start using Whirlwind, Steel Tornado to finish them off. So that's usually all there is to it for groups. Okay, single target. I'll buff up with Rally, mark the target. And when I'm ready, I'll use my gap closer. Then immediately start with a Wrecking Blow. And then start with the execute. And it's dead. So she does quite a lot of damage with her dual wield. Okay, this is how fun stealing and getting away from guards is when you're a Nightblade. So just choose Flee, go in stealth. They have no idea where you're at. Later, Mr. Guard. Yeah, he can kiss your butt, bae. Okay, up next, hello, Miss Lila. These will be Magic Nightblade morphs. The first one I usually use is Swallow Soul. It's my spammable and is also a heal. Kind of like jabs on a Templar, except it's single target. Next skill I use is Merciless Resolve. It's the Grim Focus morph. And you sort of want to use this passively. It gives you Minor Berserk when you activate it, increasing your damage. But you actually have to use 5 light or 5 heavy attacks to get it to activate. So you can really only use it when you see the button change colors. Okay, Impale is our execute. You really only want to use it in execute range, which you can see the magic morph here has quite a bit of range on it. So you can execute things from quite a distance. Okay, our next skill, Sap Essence. A lot of bombers use this to finish off targets to get Vicious Death to proc. It will heal you plus do AoE damage to enemies in the area. I use this usually to finish off trash mobs and or to heal if I'm in a in a group. It also gives us a buff. Okay, Shadowy Disguise. This has a 3-second duration, which if your magic build is not a problem, you can stay in stealth all day long. Stam not so much. Usually have about two uses in stam, but still long enough to get away from something. And it will cause a crit strike too if you use this ability. Okay, her back bar, we've got blockade of fire, of course you know about. Try to keep this on the ground at all times. Siphoning attacks, let your light and heavy attacks heal us, and we also restore magic using this. So I will use this to buff up before a fight. It looks like that, and when the effect ends, it will give you a nice little burst of magic back. Let me spam some skills here and get our magic bar a little low till it ends. Okay, yeah, you can see there our magic shot up quite a bit when the effect ended. Okay, crippling grasp. This reduces the movement speed of your enemy and does damage over time, and I try to keep this up on enemies at all times. Our next skill is Twisting Path. It's got a little bit of a DOT and increases our movement speed. But when you keep Blockade, Crippling Grasp, and Twisting Path up, they do quite a lot of damage. So, Channel Acceleration increases our crit damage and increases our movement speed, which when you get into some tricky little boss situations, it's good to have that extra movement speed. And our ulti that we're running is Soul Tether, which is also a favorite of bombers. Really good for wiping trash mobs. Also a good little burst heal if you're low. And this is what it looks like right there. And you can see it siphoning damage away. But that's she's set up for PvE, but that's her magic skills. We'll see what she looks like in action here in just a second. Thank you, Lila. Okay, here we are in the Trader's Vault. First thing I would do, Swallow Soul or Light Attack, and usually one or two of those, then followed by the Execute is all you need for any kind of low health enemy. Okay, a couple adds here. I'll start, the same thing. The Swallow Soul, Light Attacks, good ranged attacks. Okay, and the Sap Essence, you can see, is good for groups of enemies. Does quite a bit of damage, and heals us at the same time. So, it's a good skill. It's a fun skill. Okay, buffing up for larger enemies. Put our DOTs down. And there'll be no way I can get Merciless Resolve to go off on him. He will die long before that happens. Let's see if we can't find something a little larger. But you can see she wipes Bone Colossus pretty quickly. Okay, let's see if we can't get the bow to fire in this fight. Once it procs, you can see it does quite a large amount of damage. Okay, it's ready to fire. Yep, see 37k. So then Swallow Soul, Execute, he's done. But let's take out some other adds here. You can see light attack, swallow soul. You throw blockade down if you want, but it's usually just light attack weaving with swallow soul and using your execute. They're fun to play and quite easy to play. Okay, I'll show you what the ultimate looks like on a couple enemies here, and this is what a lot of bombs do in Cyrodiil. They'll hit the soul tether and then finish them off with sap essence, and that will get your vicious death to proc, you know, once someone dies. But that's her skills. Okay, I wanted to show you Ivory. She is my bomb, but I wanted to show you how fast and stealthy magic Nightblades can be, and how undetectable they can be. As you can see, when she's buffed and running on all cylinders, she's quite speedy, and you can see I'm hardly using any of my magicka, and I'm staying completely stealthed through the entire delve here. Just have to keep reapplying channeled acceleration occasionally. But when you're running like this, you know, no enemies will aggro, and you can stay completely hidden. But speed like this is really important, you know, on a bomb if you're in Cyrodiil, to get in and out of tricky situations. But thought, you know, demonstration of their speed would be interesting. So you can stand right next to ads, and as long as you're in stealth, they can't detect you. So, but those are the Nightblade skills I use. I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.